Moscou li et organisé la yon attaque sous pays Ukraine l'a cherché yon victoire ça qui ont ti jan mette la vie chita parler pour la paix en difficulté qui ti ont ti jan mette li nous capable dire les soucis viet que li presque mourir c'est oxygène y a bali là pour essayer ta kembe la vie chita parler qui prévoit entre la Russie ensemble avec Ukraine. Autorité ukrainienne yo n'a pas aussi rappelé bien vite yo té organisé un gros coup sur territoire russe même. Chef l'État américain Donald Trump lui fait comprendre que papa jamais gagné pendant lui même la dirigé là sous administration là par là que lui même l'a appliqué a pas gagné genre de monde comme Mohamed Soliman qui lui même jeune moyen pour le mettre du feu sur 8 citoyens qui gagnent code enterré dans le pays Israël qui a vivre sur le territoire américain juste ça qui a manifesté pour demander pour Hamas libérer otages que le gagne depuis environ une année. L'administration américaine li rete ferme sous position concernant un processus déporté citoyen qui vivent de manière illégale par ici. Il a pu renforcer pendant que une gros manœuvre qui t'a fait là dans la cour Massachusetts pour marcher arrêter moun qui ont même pas légal dans le pays les États-Unis d'Amérique. Secrétaire président Madame Caroline Levitt l'a parlé la Kounia n'a permis de gagner une idée de déclaration mondiale depuis Maison Blanche et puis n'a retourné.
Here in the United States of America. So, as you know, the United States and Poland have always had a very deep and strong relationship, friendship. They're a great ally, and I know the president continues to look forward to working with them.
We have one more on Ukrainian drone attack on Russia. Will President Trump inform in advance by Ukraine that the attack is coming?
He was not. Carrie.
Caroline, so just want to go back to the issue on the anti-Christian bias as well as issues on anti-Semitic issues. Senator Grassley just put out a report saying that the FBI files have shown that the Catholic group targeting was way more prevalent within the FBI during the Biden era than was previously shown as far as former FBI Director Christopher Wray was putting out there during congressional testimony. Can you discuss here what President Trump would like to see in terms of consequences within the FBI as far as those who were involved? Also, the second question, if the DOJ finds that the auto pen was used by President Biden, should those actions that were used with the auto pen, should they be null and void?
I'm not going to get ahead of the Department of Justice's investigation into the usage of the auto pen. And again, the question is not, was the auto pen used? It's whether or not the President of the United States knew it was being used, and if not, who was using it in his name, which is clearly illegal behavior. Deanna.
Thanks, Caroline. One on foreign policy, one domestic, if I can.
Sure.
On foreign, just speaking to the president's Truth Social post about Iran recently, saying that there will be no uranium enrichment. Is he saying that that's a red line for him or no?
I already answered this question. The president's been very clear about where he stands on that.
Okay, and then on domestic, there's a report that Laura Loomer met with the vice president today. Can you speak to her relationship with the administration and if she's informally advising in any way?
She is not. I do know she met with the vice president. As for what was discussed in that meeting, I would defer you to his team.
Thanks, Caroline. I have one question on anti-Semitism, one question on China. So for years, radical leftists and Islamists have been calling for so-called globalize the Intifada. Do you believe this is a call for violence against Jews? And do you think these attacks on Jews around our country is what globalizing the Intifada looks like?
I don't want to speak to the merits of those claims without looking into them. But as I said, any violence against Jewish Americans will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Absolutely. And also, Secretary of State Rubio made an announcement saying he'll be revoking visas of certain Chinese students, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party. Does that include sons and daughters of politicians, presidents, and chairmen?
Again, Secretary of State Rubio has the right to revoke visas, and he made the announcement that the State Department will begin to aggressively revoke those visas of Chinese students who are in our country, namely those with Chinese Communist Party ties, or those who could be a threat to our national security and the interests of the United States. To both of you, yeah. Go ahead and then back to you.
Thank you. There are now reports that Israeli forces are firing on Palestinians trying to get aid from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Up to 20 people, according to the Red Cross, have arrived to the hospital that they've set up with gunshot wounds, have died from them. Is this administration aware of these? And I mean, what is being done to address this situation?
The administration is aware of those reports, and we are currently looking into the veracity of them because, unfortunately, unlike some in the media, we don't take the word of Hamas with total truth. We like to look into it when they speak. Unlike the BBC, who had multiple headlines, they wrote, Israeli tank kills 26, Israeli tank kills 21, Israeli gunfire kills 31, Red Cross says 21 people were killed in an aid incident, and then, oh wait, they had to correct and take down their entire story, saying we reviewed the footage and couldn't find any evidence of anything. Oh. Okay, so we're going to look into reports before we confirm them from this podium or before we take action, and I suggest that journalists who actually care about truth do the same to reduce the amount of misinformation that's going around the globe on this front.
Can you talk
John.
about the change in the leadership of the organization? What does that mean going forward, and why so early on is this happening?
What organization?
The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
Well, look, this was a creative idea that the president called for to get aid into the region. These people were desperate and starving, and the president didn't like seeing imagery of that, and he wanted to ensure that aid was brought in with the approval of Israel for understandable reasons. We will never forget the brutal attack on October 7th. And again, this is something that the previous administration was unwilling to put the time and effort into doing. John.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. I want to bring it back to the way you began your briefing, talking about the president's mass deportation program and his priorities. 40% of crop farm workers in the U.S. are undocumented, and that's according to the Agriculture Department. Do they have a carve-out in terms of the president's mass deportation program?
The president and the Trump administration have been very clear. If you are in the country illegally, you are subject to deportation.
Is there any concern that, given that large number, if that number is correct, 40% of crop farm workers being undocumented, that could impact the food supply here in America if those individuals that obviously help pick crops all across the country are deported en masse?
Again, this administration is focused on deporting individuals who are in our country illegally. It's something we have to do. We cannot allow the previous administration's invasion of our country of illegal immigrants to continue. We just can't have it. And this is a law and order president. As for our farmers and their concerns, they have a president who has their backs and listens to their concerns and hears them. But we also have a legal pathway to come to this country and work specifically for agricultural work. So there's a legal way to do it, and we encourage that legal pathway, and we're currently working on strengthening our legal immigration system for that reason. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. I just wanted to follow up on your statement last week regarding the Maha report.
Sure.
You said that there was, I understand there were some formatting issues with the Maha report that are being addressed, and that report will be updated. We also understand that since that, there have been some citations that came about. There's citations of studies that either did not exist or did not back up the report's conclusions. So when you were referring to formatting errors, is that what you were talking about, or was it, could you just explain that?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. There were formatting errors, and those errors were updated by the proper policy components here at the White House, and a new report was issued. So exactly what I said took place. Sure, go ahead, Alec.
Yeah,
good to see you.
Good to see you. Congresswoman Mary Miller suggested that changing Pride Month to Family Month. I would personally like to see maybe a nuclear family month. Some people are saying, let's get a Veterans Month. Does the president have any plans on making a proclamation, or is it just going to be June this year?
Well, there are no plans for a proclamation for the month of June, but I can tell you this president is very proud to be a president for all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or creed.
Caroline.
Reagan, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
And then I'll go to you.
Thank you.
Voilà, Madame, Monsieur, c'est une partie dans la déclaration secrétaire Presta, Madame Caroline Levitt, depuis Maison-Blanche, qui lui-même a expliqué aux journalistes position administration sur différents sujets ou bien sur ensemble de sujets, parler de questions relations États-Unis avec China, sous plan relations diplomatiques, immigration, Eh bien, secrétaire Presta fait comprendre que secrétaire américain n'a pas de chef diplomatie, secrétaire d'État, M. Marco Rubio, il a un droit pour révoquer visa n'importe monde que lui-même estime qui pas un droit bénéficier visa si la China gagne une quantité d'étudiants qui sur liste d'après déclaration qui était sortie de côté administration pour révoquer visa ou même cap étudier par ici parce que yo gagné une relation ensemble avec parti communiste là qui au pouvoir dans le pays China. Pourtant chef d'État n'a pas eu aucun problème pour le déclarer. JPN c'est bons amis. Il y a travaillé ensemble mais que si là qui gagné dans passeport yo et yo c'est chinois que yo même yo fait partie de un tel groupe, eh bien autorité ont réservé le droit pour mettre au dehors en deux pays depuis yo fait partie de régime ou bien groupe communiste dans la cour pays la Chine. Toujours sous ça qui gagne avec immigration malgré yo parlé yo cité nombre de 40% à travailleurs dans jardin yo, c'est de monde qui pas vraiment légal, c'est de monde qui pas gagne résidence dans pays a. Mais madame n'a fait comprendre que yo pas gagne aucun problème du tout pour mettre dehors. C'est ça président l'état prôné dans campagne, c'est ça le promettre population, c'est pour le dégager, le retirer moun sa yo en dedans pays les États-Unis. Madame Lévit aussi lui parler de question commerce là, eh bien, il fait comprendre que autorité au penché en pile sur question prix produit première nécessité même si pour qu'on gagne réponse qui vient dans cas si là. Donc c'est comme ça situation liée. Israël a accepté proposition que l'autorité américaine fait pour gagner un cessez-le-feu qui a duré environ 30 jours pour permettre aussi Hamas de libérer otages que le gagne dans main. Cependant, responsable Hamas yo pas ouais l'idée ça, yo parole de bonheur, yo pas entendre appliquer ou signer papier que ça qui arrivé vinn jeune yo. Et puis il faut connaître que bandit qui était tué 8 monde qui était blessé 8 monde dans Colorado, monsieur li sorti de l'hôpital actuellement li dans prison en attendant que yo capable passer à jugement citoyen pour ça que li commettent. Toujours dans ça qui avec actualité Ukraine avec la Russie qui dans bataille, autorité russe a cherché la pour si tu as encerclé Ukraine puis bien toujours pour pas quitter route pour ne sortir et les envahi terrain, c'est va yo massacre que yo va faire puisque groupe ça n'a parlé yo même qui a fait travail je dis contre pays Israël, yo gen moyen dans mais yo. Groupe Hamas là, yo fait comprendre que yo prêt là pour continuer bataille là avec Israël dans la mesure où Israël pas entendre pour lui faire yo grâce pour lui ba yo possibilité pour yo même pour yo fonctionner normalement comme nation. Et puis dans ça qui gagne toujours avec question budget, il faut connaître ensemble parlementaire New York qui était réuni qui a posé problème budget, il fait comprendre que yo gen bon temps à observer dans le parlement, yo beaucoup j'aime un projet de loi figurer Jean ça figurer là. Donc c'est comme ça situation de révéler difficile pour une série de citoyens. Ça c'est rêve pas nous qui peut arriver là, nous disons merci parce que vous êtes fidèles ensemble avec nous. Nous espérons nous seulement il faut connaître que l'équipe haïtienne la disputé des deuxième et dernier match dans le cadre de deux rencontres amicales qui ont joué contre l'équipe Canada. Dans la première rencontre, Haïti est tombé 1-4 devant la sélection canadienne. Red branché, c'est une information, n'a tourné pour nous porter au bas. Merci tout le monde.